So, like I said, the badge, it registered at 8:16. I wasn't thinking, because I'm thinking, okay, as long as we're there before patients start at 8:30, it should be okay. Okay? That's what I'm thinking. Cause the practice that I work for, I know that's where I fucked up at, thinking about all the other practices I work for. But hey, this was my. I'm like, all right, cool. We went into the break room, the conference room, to talk this one time, and it was her and her husband. She pulled me in to talk about my attendance, and I'm like, okay. She was like, yeah, so I see that, like, you get here some days at 8, some days it's 8:03, some days it's 8:05, and then that's when I was like, I apologize. I'm so sorry. It's like some days I have issues with my son daycare. They open later than what they say they gonna open, and it just puts me behind, but I try to do a little better. I apologize. She's like, that's okay, because we give you a 15-minute grace period. But I saw that there was one day, I think it was last Tuesday, and she's like flipping, where you clocked in at 8:16. I was like, yeah, I got here around like 8:14. I said, but that's the day that I had text one of the girls to let them know that I was running a little bit behind, and she said okay. And then while I got here at 8:14, I was looking for my badge, and by the time I got my badge and walked over to the time clock, it hadn't changed to 8:16. I apologize about that. She's like, yeah, so we give you a 15-minute grace period, but when you go over that 15 minutes like you did here, we give you a mark for that. I was like, oh, a mark? She said, yes. So you have 2 more times to be late in the 90-day probationary period before you're terminated. I was like, but I was only a minute. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. Okay. I apologize. I'm going to do better. She was like, well, to help you with that, how about, some one of the girls, she comes in a little bit early some days. You can come in a little bit early so that you can make sure that you're here at 8. I was like, okay, all right, I'll try to do that. I'm gonna get better with it. I apologize. I'm sorry. She's like, but I just want to let you know that you are doing a good job. I can see that you're doing a good job. You're catching on to the training very well, and we just got to work on your punctuality. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do better. I apologize. I'm no more excuses. I apologize. She's like, okay. So we walk out of the conference room, and I'm just like, mental note, at 8:15, I gotta be there by 8:15, yo. By 8:15. Like, even on them days that I'm like fighting with Cayenne, by 8:15, I have to be there. Like, I have to be there. So I'm like, all right, cool. So on my lunch break, I ended up calling Marlon, because even though we was on the outs as far as like the relationship, he was still my friend. Like, he was still a cool person to talk to, like, to vent to. So I called, even though I know now at this point that I shouldn't be venting to this man at all about nothing, but he was a good friend to vent to. So I called him, and I'm just like, Marlon, guess what happened? He was like, what? I was like, so I got pulled into the office about my time. He was like, what? I'm like, so apparently we got to be here by 8:15. And if we're not here by 8:15, it's like if we're a minute after 8:15, that's a mark. And if I get 3 marks, like three days that I'm late in this 90-day period, they gonna fire me. He was like, what? I'm like, yeah. And I was trying to explain about Kyan's daycare. He was like, what about the daycare? I'm like, you know how it gets. Sometimes it don't open when it's supposed to be open, and this and that. And he was just like, well, I can take Kyan in the morning. I'm like, no, it's okay. I'm going to just wake up and I'm going to do it. He was like, but if it'll help, I will take Kyan in the morning for you so that you can make sure that you're there, at least just for the next few days or so they can get off your back. Because right now, she going to be on your back if you're late. And you know how they can be. I'm like, okay. I mean, that is a good idea. Okay, so maybe you can just come in the morning, pick Kyan up, take her to daycare so I can make sure I get to work on time. It's like, okay. I was like, okay, well, all right, thank you. Well, we'll do it that way. Thank you. So I'm just like, I get off the phone with Marlon, And I continue on my day. And I'm just like, I ain't gonna let it get to me because, I was late. I was late. But damn, I did not want to have to ask Marlon for help. I didn't want to have to ask him to help me in no way, shape, or form. I'm like, now I'm forced to. But it's okay. He just taking him to school. I'm gonna have to find him another daycare because this ain't gonna work. Because it ain't. So the next day, everything was fine. I go to work normal. It wasn't until the day after. So 2 days after I had that conversation with the boss, with the doctor about my tardiness, I get a call. I get a text at 5 o'clock in the morning from Kayan's daycare director letting me know that they are going to have a late start. So I'm just like, fuck. All right, I gotta call Marlon. Call Marlon, let him know, like, look, I gotta be to work at 8. Like, I have to be there at 8 o'clock, no later than 8:15. But I don't even want to push it to 8:15. I really don't want to be late at all. I'm like, the daycare just told me that they're gonna have a late start. Is it okay? Like, is there any way that you can take Kayan to school for me? He's like, yeah, sure, of course. I got him. I told you I got him. You go ahead and you go. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to be headed out of here around like 7:15, 7:20-ish. He was like, yeah, I got you. I'm going to get there. I got you. So 7 o'clock roll around. I already got my stuff, like getting my stuff prepared to go. Done made my coffee and everything. Marlon came, knocked on the door. It was like, all right, I'm here. I was like, thank you. I'm like, Kayan is in the room watching TV. He already got his clothes on. Whenever y'all are ready, y'all can go. What time are you going to leave? He was like, well, what time did the daycare say that they was going to open? Well, they just said late start. Hold on, let me check my phone. And I looked, and I was like, well, they opening at 9 o'clock today. He's like, okay, all right, that ain't too bad. That ain't too bad. Right now, they sent me my dispatch form. I only got like 3 turnarounds, so it's going to be a slow day for me anyway. So it's fine. I'm like, all right, cool. So I ended up leaving. When I got to the office, because I left so early, I got there at like 7:45. I'm like, oh shoot, I'm 15 minutes early. All right, cool, whatever. So I walk in, I'm like, okay, all right. Grab my badge and I clock in. I sit in the break room. And then I sit in the break room, put my stuff up. And then I started like gathering up the cleaning supplies because we don't start cleaning until 8 o'clock. So I'm just like, all right, let me gather up the cleaning supplies and do something. 8 o'clock come around. I start to clean it. I was supposed to do windows. So I start cleaning the windows and all this and that. Whatever. Tell me why. The day went by. It went by fine. It was little hiccups here and there, but it went by fine. At the end of the day, the doctor pulls me into her office. I go in. I was like, hey. She's like, so I saw the day that you clocked in at 7:45. I was like, yeah, I got somebody to take my son to school for me today, and I just got here a little bit early. She's like, I think you got me a little bit, confused when I said to show up early. I mean, like, you can show up, but don't clock in. I was like, oh, well, I clocked in, like I put my stuff down, and I clocked in, and I started gathering the cleaning supplies. She's like, yeah, but we don't start cleaning until 8. And you clocked in at 7:45, meaning you clocked in 15 minutes before 8. So you was on the clock for an additional 15 minutes when you really not supposed to clock in until 8 because we try to prevent overtime. I was like, oh, I didn't know. I'm sorry. I was just trying to make sure I was here on time. She said, that's okay. Tomorrow, just leave 15 minutes early so we don't have no overtime hiccups. I'm like, okay.